Good morning and welcome all of you to my YouTube channel Animals and Pets with Partha. It's indeed very encouraging to see such a large viewership to my ongoing YouTube channel vlogs. I'm trying to bring you every now and then vlogs on different topics which would be helpful and helpful to everybody in the pets and animal world. Today I'm going to take you to a very historical market which has a big history behind it. I don't know for how many years, maybe 100, maybe more. But I can tell you that when I was a little toddler, say around maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, and then on the whole of my life till today, I have been visiting a market called HATHI BAGAN Pet Market, which is a Sunday market, Sunday animals and pet market, not very far from my place in Aravinda Sharani near Shambajar. In my little, I remember very clearly in those early days when my father was very strict on my pocket money and things like that. I was always well, this is all from my father. I was always a person who loved to breed animals and, pets, aquarium fishes and things like that. So I landed up as a little child breeding a lot of fishes, and I had too many to keep. And I would remember I would take those fishes as a little boy to that market, and there are hundreds of other people were also there. They would be selling them. And there would be, of course, young boys like me who would also possibly, with the same urge as I had to get some extra pocket money, I took those fishes and sold it in that market. But anyway, this name HATHI BAGAN, how did it derive, from where it derived? I will not be able to tell you. I tried searching the Google, but I did not get a reference to this. But I presume, let me just get back to you about the meaning of what is Hathi. Hathi means in Indian language, most of Indian language, they would call it an elephant. And Bagan means a garden. So, elephant garden. Maybe a few hundred years ago when the British rule was there was some reason where maybe elephants were sold in the market, which is possible, and maybe they would be kept there. So somehow the market developed that name. Later, it's still a market. It's a market of complete vegetables and all sorts of pulses and you name it, and it's a huge market. But outside that market, under the portico, slowly somehow, at least, what started was a pet market in a very humble and way. But it started growing unchecked, and years went by, you would see so many varieties of birds, animals, fishes coming to that market. Dogs, of course, in plenty were coming. In those days, the main dogs were pet dogs, means very sophisticated, like I'm talking about 70s, with the sophisticated dogs, like, German Shepherds and Boxers, Great Danes, and maybe Siberian Huskies, Pomeranians. All these were only sold from houses, and they would go to elite homes. Well, not so common like today. But what happened is, in those days, there was a craze for a dog called, which of course now is the sophisticated Tibetan Lhasa Apso. They called it Tibetan Lhasa Apso, or what you call. Lhasa Apso is a famous breed around the world, and everyone who is involved in pure breed dogs would know Lhasa. In those days, here it was called Bhutia. People didn't know the name properly and they called it Bhutia. It was something like that. It was anything that had a little bit of hair and maybe a little, short nose would be called a Bhutia. And there is a little bit of, I will add a little story to it. How did this Hathi Bagan become very famous? There is a dog which is responsible to make this Hathi Bagan dog market. Of course, it has all the other pets which I am showing you on my video as I take you to a walk through the market, which I did yesterday and did some videography for you. There was a dog called Ridge, a Lhasa Apso. This Ridge had become the most famous winning dog in the country at the time. And he was a gorgeous golden Lhasa. The color was on the little, lighter side, the sandy color. And he was bought from that market by a man called Mr. Pramani. And the man who sold it to him, his name was Mr. Molloy Roy. Mr. Molloy Roy was a person who used to go to Darjeeling, and there's the, the Tibetan settlement, and he started they used to breed this sort of dogs, plenty, and every week he would go there and bring dogs and arrive in Calcutta on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, and those puppies would be all over the market. Later on, of course, a lot of other people started bringing. But this champion Ridge became such a phenomenal winner that every judge that came from around the world, and if champion Ridge had competed, he was a sure best in show winner. So Hathi Bagan became famous, sold to this Mr. Pramani for a mere 400 rupees. Then the dog market and the rest of the market started growing at such a tremendous speed that the road that on which this market is to be set up on Sundays, people couldn't just walk. No transport could move, nothing. It was completely blocked. It was chock-a-block. And it was completely blocked and you couldn't get through. So the government, 25 years back, in the year 1996, decided to shift this market to a more convenient place where it did not interfere with regular, regular day-to-day activity of people, and it did not, because it was a main thoroughfare, a main road developed in the Salani, and it was completely blocked on a Sunday morning, which disrupted the entire transport system in the city. The market moved on to Galiff Street, which is about little more than a kilometer from the original place. But it is not on the main road. It is on, there's a canal in Calcutta which is very famous. Everyone knows it. So it is beside the canal, which was unused space, and it's a 200 meters or 300 meter stretch. So the government decided to shift the market there. So most of the people who already had setups here and were doing business and it was their livelihood, and for years and years, so they moved to Galiff Street. There again in Galiff Street, at the present moment, it is even worse. The crowd has grown so much, the market has grown in such proportions that it is unmanageable. You cannot drive through the place, even if you cannot walk properly without means being pushed around. And I tell you, it is one place where general people who will go there will not be able to walk through that place comfortably unless you are an what do you call animal fanatic. You love animals, pets, and you know what you've got to do. You've got to push around yourself and find your shop and find your people and somehow collect what you want. So here as I walk through this place, as you can see at the background, that the moment you enter, there is this, you see the entire place completely only heads of people, with hundreds and thousands of people in that stretch of land. You cannot count them, it's uncountable. Now this is after the corona. This is just as we are still not yet completely what do you call, free from COVID-19. But even then, this is the crowd. So people just, this is the sort of the volume of the business and the people that come into this place. Now, there is it's going to be quite a few episodes if I have to get through all the traders and the people and bring them to you on my Animals and Pets program. But today I'm just showing you what actually it looks like at a first glance. Now the dog section, which is very important section there, of course. There are 14 vendors. 14 vendors, they set up their cages and everything and bring in the puppies on Sunday morning, and by afternoon 2-3 o'clock they are finished and they go home with all the puppies. So this is the setup of the pet shop. They are not there for a week or over the week. They just come for the day and they set it up early morning at the wee hours of dawn. They get active and market is set up. Now, this 14 people were they shifted, the 14 shops that shifted from HATHI BAGAN. Now what I'm talking of is the Galiff street market. So this HATHI BAGAN is a legacy that has just passed on up, maybe because it shifted from HATHI BAGAN, so the name carries on. But what reference, what does it refer to? Maybe after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, people would know, but would still call it the HATHI BAGAN Pet Market. Some people, of course. But Galiff street name also is getting popular, and slowly, maybe, I don't know, I don't wish though, that HATHI BAGAN may be forgotten to the people and Galiff street may come to stay. But then I have a point here. Galiff street is just not enough space for this market. It requires at least 10 or 20 times more space. Means this market has a potential, unbelievable potential. This should be set up in a large place with permanent nice shops. Of course, it will be a weekend market as it is today, but I can tell you this market has a huge potential. It is up to the administration, the government to take note. Because the people who are bringing these animals and livestock, they are very crammed up in small cages, and the conditions are really deplorable for keeping, showcasing their animals and birds and things like that. And I think they deserve a much bigger space, and there should be some rules as to how to. Here you cannot really implement any rule. There is nothing possible because people are in plastic bags, hundreds and thousands of people trying to sell a few fishes, small boys to elderly people. Just if you had them extra animals or any livestock, they just bring it over and they try to sell it off in that market. So that is, and the crowd is just booming. These require these, so there should be some rule as to what size cage is and how to exhibit your livestock and birds and things like that. Unless you do that, it is really it doesn't speak good of our city administration, and also this is a very heritage market of India. And I mentioned earlier, I would, with definitiveness, tell you that it would be the biggest animals and pet markets in the country. And for a country like India, it is shameful to have a market and we just to sit around and do nothing for them. It is. Another point, the point that must also be taken into note is that there is there's a huge potential for this pet market, and the demand is if you consider, the demand is really huge. There are thousands and thousands of families, millions of people who are involved in this trade of animals and pets, breeding and breeding them. And for a lot of them, this Hathi Bagan is actually the market where they sell their products. And they bring them from far away places or villages. Means if you look at the plant section, you see the plants. They're not done in the city. They come from outside. It's just for these few hours. They come. They travel long distances. They've spent huge, for mountain transportation to somehow reach this place. So I would suggest that the government should look into this matter and not only give them a much bigger space to set up their wares, set up the all the things that is being people want as hobbies, and then in the district towns also similar markets should be set up. Why I'm saying this is I'm very much aware. And because I've been visiting this market called Chatuchak in Bangkok, in Thailand, and it's a huge Sunday market which is very famous around the world. And international buyers go to Thailand to buy pets and take them to from various countries of the world. People just flock in on Sundays for this Chatuchak market to buy along these animals and birds and fishes and take them home. I think our country and this market in Calcutta has a larger potential because we have the buyers, we have captive buyers. Thailand depends on buyers from around the world to come, but we already have a huge captive market, not only in this city, in this huge city of Calcutta, but also in the state of West Bengal, and we are a 30-state country. So you can imagine the sheer population and the huge demands of these pet animals now in this country. This market would become much bigger than Chatuchak market in Thailand. So I would attract administrators, politicians, and enthusiasts of animals and birds to kindly take note of this, and in whichever way possible, please try and make life for these animals which are being showcased and sold in Galiff street market a better place for everyone, the sellers, the buyers, the animals, and the birds that we love so much. I would request everyone to raise their voice, to come onto a platform and appeal for much better facilities so that people really can drive in and look at the animals. They should and how beautiful they should be beautifully preserved, exhibited, showcased, and of course, this market, this business will generate millions of people, employment to millions of people. Because if you have district markets which may work on weekdays, and then this market, so buyers can, the city buyers can go to the district markets and buy the stuff, and then this market has tremendous potential to generate employment for millions of people around the country. Mainly the produce, actually, most of this will be bred in the outskirts, in the villages, and which is very conveniently bred. And then slowly, if they have district markets, those can be sold in the district markets, and then from the district markets, this shopkeepers in the bigger cities can buy their stuff. This is how the chain works in Thailand. So they have different markets in various districts, and from those markets, the livestock and all the animals and birds and everything come to the main market, which is the Chatuchak market. So I would suggest that this must be given a priority from the government of India and also the local administration. Saying this, having said this, I would request you to please subscribe to my channel, press the bell button, do like and share it, as I will be bringing you many episodes on the shopkeepers from this Galiff street market, or this erstwhile HATHI BAGAN market. The name HATHI BAGAN, a legacy that is carried on from the original place where the market actually was set up, and now it has shifted to Galiff Street. And I hope that the market is shifted to a much bigger place than this, and everyone from the shopkeepers to the people who are the customers, and even all the birds and animals and fishes and everything that are exhibited for being sold have a better place and better. There should be proper rules as to how this market should operate, which is very easy. If they just stretch out and look at the Chatuchak market in Bangkok, they can get an example how well things can be organized, and this business can grow. So bye for now, and I'll see you again very soon with different episodes on different topics. And of course, many personalities from this market will be at my studio recording for you on this YouTube channel. Maybe people selling birds and animals, fishes, guinea pigs, rabbits, Peruvians, poultry farmers, and plant people selling, having big, large nurseries. Means whatever that deals in hobbies and animals and pets. I am trying to get to you the whole world of animals and pets from around all that I can gather for you. So stay tuned, subscribe, press the bell button, and see you soon again.